Hello, my name is Alexander Kerry. You're watching UATV News in English. This is the latest news from Ukraine and around the world. Now, first this hour, as of 2 p.m., voter turnout in the snap parliamentary elections to the Verkhovna Rada stands at 19.23%. This is reported on the website of the Central Election Commission of Ukraine. Voters in the Luhansk region have been most active as of now, almost 25% voter turnout. The lowest turnout so far is in the Chernivtsi region, a little over 12%. Out of the nearly 30,000 polling stations, only 27 opened with delays. Voting is continuing and we'll keep you updated while the elections unfold. And now we go to the latest from the front line. Our correspondent Ihor Medelian is working there and he spent a night in the trenches with Ukrainian soldiers. Just a reminder, a ceasefire there was to come into force right after midnight today. Now, so hello Ihor, how was the evening on the front line?
Hello, Alex. I'd like to compare this night before the parliamentary elections with those before the presidential election. Back then, the enemy largely withheld their fire. This night, however, was different. I spent the night in trenches, and here is what I saw.
З автомата?
Да.
Буде стріляти по мені тут. Жорстко. Дали їм відповідь.
We gave them response so that they would not forget that this is our land.
Before
midnight, the enemy opened fire and started attacking Ukrainian positions using small arms and continued shelling Ukrainian troops using mortars.
Ух ти!
Давайте вниз, дівчата. Да, походу, да. Давайте вниз. Є. Прямо по нам. Давай. Давай, выпускай. Всі там?
Всі, да.
этот обстрел мы переживали.
We were waiting out the shelling in an entrenchment. Soldiers had sent us there urgently. At that moment, several mortar shells landed near Ukrainian positions.
Dear journalists, how do you like the ceasefire?
Amazing.
Yeah, we dreamed about something like this for a long time.
На часах сейчас ровно 12 часов 01 минута.
It's 1 minute past midnight. Complete silence settled in Mariinka and around Ukrainian positions at night, but the Ukrainian military does not trust the militants.
Я надіюсь, там того ні в кого нема, да? Там патронів? Ні. Точно.
And that was UATV correspondent Ihor Medelian reporting live from the front line in eastern Ukraine. Now, back in the Ukrainian capital, exit polls of the parliamentary election are being conducted by the Democratic Initiatives Foundation, the International Institute of Sociology and Razumkov Center. Early results are to be released later today.
We live in groups. Some soldiers stay at their positions to cover us if necessary, while others go and vote. Then they return, and others vote in their turn.
Every vote is important, the vote of every Ukrainian, whether he's a soldier or a salesperson. Therefore, the servicemen wanted to vote, and they will vote. Today, they are making an important choice for Ukraine.
And President Volodymyr Zelensky cast his ballot around noon Kiev time. The president voted at polling station 489 at the College of the Sea and River Fleet here in Kiev. Let's take a listen. next hour.
It has to be new faces. To be honest, we can't see ourselves in a coalition with anyone from the old administration. That's the only way. But we don't yet know which parties will be elected to the parliament. So we'll make a decision after the results are in.
And next hour, voter turnout is not expected to be as high as it was during the presidential election this spring. In part, this is because many people are on summer holidays. Our correspondents have been talking to voters throughout the country. Let's listen to what some of them had to say about the election.
I'll vote during lunchtime. I found out where it is. It's such a responsible time right now. Everyone must be very vigilant if we want changes. First, I went to church, prayed for everything to be well, so that I and all Ukrainians would make the right choice. I hope it will be so. I'm optimistic and hopeful. Of course, I came with the faith that our voices will give us the opportunity to solve this complicated situation that we have now.
Any normal person, first of all, wants peace and then for the standard of living to improve.
Peace comes before all, and of course Ukraine's economic growth, so that our country will be stable and confident in its future again. We're in a great mood. We're hoping for the better, that everything will be well.
I want the war to end so that people can live in peace, and we'll see what they do next.
Now, that was in Ukraine, but around the world, Ukrainians are heading to polling stations to vote in Ukraine's parliamentary elections. From Australia to the UK and beyond, we take a listen at what voters are saying about it.
In Poland, voters sang the Ukrainian anthem while waiting for the polling station to open. More than 19,000 people are expected to cast their ballots in Warsaw today. Ukrainians in Poland can also vote in 3 other cities, including Gdańsk, Krakow, and Lublin. The polling stations will be open until 9 p.m. Kyiv time.
The number of voters has grown in comparison to the presidential election. There are 19,404 voters on the list. However, the turnout is expected to be 2 times lower. An hour after the start of the voting, we can see that the line is shorter in comparison to the presidential election and fewer people are interested in voting. It's not surprising since students have left for holidays and workers are mostly seasonal, so they are outside Warsaw.
Ukrainians are also voting in The Hague. The polling station in the Ukrainian embassy is the only one in the Netherlands, so people come here from across the country. There are almost 1,900 eligible voters here.
We came here from Amsterdam. The trip took 40 or 50 minutes. Our mom is with us. She also wants to vote. She has probably already voted. Mom thinks that it's very important.
3 polling stations are operating in the Turkish cities of Istanbul, Ankara, and Antalya. In Ankara, less than 30 people out of 214 have already cast their ballots. The oldest registered voter is 85. Some people come to these polling stations from other regions.
I came to vote because I see that Ukraine is going through a period of change now. I believe in the younger generation. I like how our president started his term in office, and I see many politicians, experienced not only in politics but also in economics, law, and other fields. They are ready to help young people. It's very good. Therefore, I came here to vote.
In Hungary, the polling station for the parliamentary elections is situated in Budapest. There, several people came out to cast their votes for the future of the country.
We're from Kiev. We're on holiday now. The election process is organized well here. We voted quickly. Moreover, a person who's voting for the first time is among us. It was interesting for her to take part in this process. We're a large group.
While polling stations have already closed in Australia, Ukrainians around the world continue to cast their votes. As voting stations open and close, everyone eagerly awaits election results.
Approximately 60 observers from the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly have come to Ukraine for the parliamentary election. They're monitoring voting in Kyiv, Odessa, Lviv, Kharkiv and Mariupol. We have received a comment from Albert Janssen. He's the head of the OSCE Election Observation Mission. Let's take a listen.
Yes, our mission makes a comprehensive assessment of the whole electoral process. So we have been here, the core team and so-called long-term observers out in the regions for several weeks to work on that. And after the election, we actually stay on until the beginning of August to monitor the post-election period. But of course, election day is a culmination of the process. So because of that, we got big reinforcements last week, many hundreds of additional observers. So today, on election day, we have more than 800 observers deployed across the country. That is the international election observation team that I had.
And over 1,700 observers are in Ukraine for the parliamentary elections. They have a crucial task before them to report on electoral fraud and monitor the democratic process. UATV's Natalia Chekotun filed this report on their work. Let's watch.
1,719 observers from around the world have been tasked with monitoring the snap parliamentary elections in Ukraine. This is key in ensuring election integrity.
The OSCE traditionally deployed the largest number of observers, that is more than 700 people. If we are talking about observers from foreign states, the leader is the USA. It deployed 42 people to monitor the election.
The United States is just one out of 12 countries that take part in the monitoring missions. There are also representatives from Japan, Poland, Hungary, Spain and Belgium. 17 Russians in turn were denied to monitor the election campaign as part of the OSCE mission. This is due to Russia's aggression in eastern Ukraine. Some international organizations also deployed their mission to Donbass. Among them is the European Network of Election Monitoring Organizations.
We have one team of long-term observers which is deployed in Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast and who are monitoring as close as they can to the contact line, but we give them very specific security guidelines to stay safe.
All of those observers have experience working in war-torn countries. Their main aim is to assess the electoral process and to advance democracy and international peace. Canada, a non-for-profit NGO, has been promoting this process since 2004, with nearly 2,000 election observers mobilized to Ukraine for 11 elections.
There are 50 long-term observers that have been in Ukraine for quite a number of weeks already, and of them there is a core team in our Kyiv office and analysts. They're not just in the main city of the oblast, they're in some of the smaller regions of the oblast as well.
We're not here to make an outcome. That's up to the voters and the citizens of Ukraine. But what we can help do is help set a framework which gives them assurance that it's going to be an open and fair system.
Following the elections, a range of organizations will issue their preliminary statements with initial assessments and recommendations for the future. Natalia Chekotun, UATV.
And that's all we have for you this hour, but I'll leave the studio to my colleague Oles Garczuk, who is going to interview Evgen Bystritsky, Doctor of Philosophy and President of the Ukrainian Philosophy Foundation. Make sure to stay tuned on UATV to know more about the parliamentary elections currently underway in Ukraine. And for more information, you can check our official website, uatv.ua. Thank you for watching UATV News in English. Don't forget you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you very soon.